Last September, Anthropic gave us a 5-day glimpse of something called Imagine with Claude, which was a research preview where Claude could build entire applications from scratch in real time with no pre-written code. But then they took it away. But today they brought it back, but not as a standalone demo. They embedded it directly into every Claude conversation. And the implications are going to be much bigger than most people realize. Now, this is different than what we have seen before. This is not a canvas feature or image generation. Most AI labs are racing to generate images. Anthropic is doing something very different. They gave Claude the ability to build software on the fly inside your conversation and throw it away when you are done with it. So this is not image generation or canvas. This is what I would call on-demand generative UI. Claude deciding in real time that the best way to answer your question is not text or picture, but an interactive application built just for you right now that did not exist before. I think this is going to really supercharge your learning. Also, it kind of shows us what is possible with on-demand software generation. This is also extendable using MCPs, so you can connect it to Figma, Canvas, Slack through MCP. Okay, so this feature is available to all Claude users. And the thing is that the agent or the model itself decides when to use interactive plots as a part of explanation. So I think the most important part is not only the on-demand software generation, but the ability of Claude to make decisions. Now, this is very different than some of the other features like Canvas or Artifact, which are again on-demand software, but they are not in line of the conversation that you're having with Claude. So we can ask something like, show me how compound interest works. So in this case, Claude is going to decide what is the best way to explain certain concept. So right now it's writing software through this interactive explainer that you can control. And this is what I would call on-demand generative UI. So not only we have this dashboard that was created, but it also explains how this works. We can change the annual rate or time horizon. It's going to change the values correspondingly. Now here's another example. Can you show me how to fold a paper airplane? So normally if you ask ChatGPT or Gemini, they will create a number of different image sequence that is going to show you the process. But in this case, Claude is writing software for you. So I think it created that whole animation of how this is supposed to work. And this is pretty neat, especially when it comes to learning. Not only you are getting text responses, but also visual explainers of how things work. Now, in the background, it is simply writing software. I can download this. This is an HTML file. Also, you can save these visual explainers as artifacts. And now we have a fully functional artifact that you can use standalone. There are some interesting examples that people have shared because this is a really powerful feature. Especially, it can actually look up real-time information. And I really like this one example. So here, this user asked us to chart the estimated cost per day for the US in the Iranian conflict, right? And it seems like it's able to pull data and then create these charts right inside the conversation. Now, there seems to be a bigger play here. Every day you wake up, there's a new release from Anthropic. But the difference between what Anthropic is releasing compared to some of the other labs is that they are really trying to become the app for knowledge worker. Every feature that we see out of Anthropic is well thought out, and it is trying to solve a specific problem. Now, you can disagree with the implementation, maybe the policies of the company, the pricing structure, but the features that they're releasing are not gimmicks. They are actually solving certain problems. And the bigger play is to become an ecosystem. If you look at some of the features released by Anthropic, or maybe like OpenAI and Gemini, you could potentially say that these features could be independent companies. Like Code Review is one good example of this. Now, Anthropic may not be perfect at code review. Their pricing structure seems ridiculous. However, as a developer or a business owner, if the same ecosystem can do everything for you, you probably are going to stick to that rather than trying to acquire 10 different softwares. And I think this ecosystem play is what makes these companies valuable. This is one of the biggest problems with open source models because there is no ecosystem around them. But if Anthropic, Google, or OpenAI is releasing something, they actually have the capability to build an ecosystem and support that ecosystem. Now, some of the features or products may not work out in the short term, but still, I think they are going to be a lot more valuable in the long term. And each of these companies are just trying to become the everything app. So in general, if you look at these feature releases, don't think of them as independent features, but they are becoming a part of this bigger ecosystem. And to be honest, most of the models are pretty much the same right now. The model intelligence difference does not matter anymore. It's what ecosystem or harness is available around it. Now, this is going to be especially important for knowledge workers. You cannot be jumping from one ecosystem to another one. I think people are going to start realizing that they have to settle for something. And this is where the vendor lock-ins come into play. A good example of this is the cloud providers of cloud services, where a lot of enterprises are sticking with a single cloud, even if the other cloud is offering certain features that are better compared to an existing cloud system. But moving from one ecosystem to another ecosystem is usually a lot more expensive and resource intensive. I think this is what exactly is happening with these frontier labs as well at this point. They're not just thinking about building better models, but they are thinking about how to build better products around those models that is going to be sticky for their user base. Anyways, do let me know what you think. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.